The applause echoed through the hall, loud and proud, but the seat reserved for my parents stayed empty. I stood at the edge of the stage, diploma folder pressed against my chest, scanning the crowd one last time, even though I already knew. Rows of smiling faces. Cameras flashing. Parents crying. Friends hugging. Not mine. My phone buzzed just as I stepped down from the platform. Mom. We're at the mall. Brooke needed a few things. Don't overthink this, Lila. I stared at the screen, my fingers going numb. Overthink? 3 years of law school. Sleepless nights. Internships that paid nothing. Finals that felt like survival tests. I'd imagined this day since my first semester. Imagine my dad clapping too loudly, my mom crying into tissues. Instead, they were buying handbags. I slipped out of the auditorium before anyone could ask where my family was. The hallway smelled like polished floors and cheap coffee. My heels clicked too loudly, like they were announcing a truth I didn't want to say out loud. I sat on a bench, pulled off my cap, and let my breath shake once. Just once. Then my other phone rang, the one almost no one knew about. Lila, my business partner, Rachel Ford, said, her voice tight with excitement. Tell me you're alone. I am, I said. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong, she said. Everything's right. The deal just closed. My heart skipped. Which deal? The acquisition, she said. All of it.
Signed.
Funded. Final. I froze. Rachel, how much? There was a pause. Then, 20 million. The hallway seemed to tilt. I pressed my palm to the bench, grounding myself. You're serious? I've never been more serious in my life, she said. They're announcing it today. Financial news picked it up fast.
Today.
The same day my parents decided my graduation wasn't important. I laughed under my breath, not because it was funny, because it was unreal. I need you downtown in an hour, Rachel continued. Boardroom meeting. Photos. Statements. I looked down at my gown, still zipped, still wrinkled from sitting. I'm dressed for graduation. Perfect, she said. You earned both. The call ended, and I sat there, stunned, my heart pounding in a way that didn't hurt this time. Another buzz. This time, a photo from my sister Brooke. Her smiling in a mirror, a glossy shopping bag in her hand. Brooke, Mom says we'll come see you later. Relax. Later. I didn't reply. I stood, straightened my shoulders, and walked out into the sunlight. The city buzzed around me. Cars honking, people rushing, life moving whether my parents showed up or not. An hour later, I was standing in a glass-walled conference room downtown, graduation gown folded neatly over a chair. Cameras flashed as executives shook my hand. Someone congratulated me on balancing law and entrepreneurship. No one asked where my parents were. Across town, the mall TVs switched from ads to breaking news. Local entrepreneur finalizes $20 million deal. Law school graduate makes history. Rachel texted me a photo of the screen. They're already calling your parents, she added. I imagined it clearly. My mom dropping her shopping bags, my dad asking questions too late, Brooke suddenly quiet. For the first time all day, I smiled. Not out of revenge. Out of clarity. I hadn't been invisible. They just weren't looking. And by the time they finally did, I'd already moved on. My phone wouldn't stop vibrating. I ignored it through the entire elevator ride down from the boardroom. Every buzz felt heavier than the last, like gravity pulling me backward toward a place I'd finally stepped out of. When the doors opened, I checked the screen. 8 missed calls. 3 from Mom. 2 from Dad. 1 from Brooke. 2 unknown numbers, probably relatives who suddenly remembered I existed. I slipped my phone into my bag without replying and stepped into the street. The city air felt sharp, alive. Cars rushed past, people moved with purpose, and for the first time all day, I felt like I was exactly where I was supposed to be. Lila. Rachel jogged up beside me, her heels clicking fast. She was grinning so hard it looked like her face might crack. You were amazing in there. I exhaled. I think I blacked out halfway through. She laughed. You didn't. You owned the room. Westbridge loved you. They're already talking long-term. Long-term. I nodded, trying to let it sink in. What about the announcement? It's everywhere, she said, pulling out her phone. She showed me headlines, social posts, notifications stacking on top of each other. And then she tilted the screen so I could see one more thing. A photo. My parents. Standing in the same mall where they'd ditched my graduation. My mom's hand was pressed to her mouth. My dad's face was pale, stiff, frozen mid-step. Behind them, the giant screen blared the news. I didn't feel triumph. I felt distance. Rachel studied my face carefully. You okay? I think so, I said slowly. I just didn't expect it to feel this quiet. She nodded like she understood more than I'd said. Power usually does. We parted ways a few minutes later. I walked alone for a bit, letting the city absorb me. Then my phone rang again. This time, I answered. Lila, my mom said breathlessly. Where are you? Her voice was different now. Urgent. Careful. Soft in a way it never was when I needed it. I'm busy, I said. We saw the news, she rushed on. Why didn't you tell us? I stopped walking. Tell you what? I asked calmly. There was a pause. About the business. About all of this. I closed my eyes briefly. You didn't ask. That's not fair, she said quickly. We just didn't know it was that big. That's the point, I said. You never thought it could be. My dad's voice cut in firmer. Lila, listen. We're coming to you. We're leaving the mall now. I pictured them hurrying, suddenly aware, suddenly invested. Don't, I said. Silence. We want to celebrate you, my mom said. We didn't realize how important today was. I let out a small, humorless laugh. You said it was just a ceremony. She inhaled sharply. I didn't mean. I know what you meant, I said, not raising my voice. You meant it wasn't important enough to show up. Brooke chimed in from the background. Lila, come on. Mom didn't mean it like that. I tightened my grip on the phone. Did you? No answer. I took a steady breath. I'm not meeting you today. What? My mom said, startled. Not today, I repeated. I have plans. Real ones. You're punishing us, my dad said. No, I replied. I'm choosing myself. I hung up before they could say anything else. My hands were shaking, but my chest felt lighter. That night, I went home alone. I kicked off my heels, changed into comfortable clothes, and sat by the window with the city lights glowing below. Messages kept coming in, apologies, explanations, sudden pride. I read none of them. Instead, I opened my laptop and started outlining the next phase of the company. Expansion. Hiring. A future that didn't require me to beg for recognition. Around midnight, there was a knock at my door. I already knew who it was. I didn't open it. From the other side, my mom's voice trembled. Lila, please. I leaned my forehead against the door, eyes closed. Go home. We just want to talk. Not tonight, I said gently. Tonight was mine. There was a long pause. Then footsteps retreating down the hallway. I didn't cry. I slept peacefully for the first time in weeks. Because for once, I hadn't shrunk myself to fit their comfort. I'd finally stepped into my own life. And tomorrow? Tomorrow, I'd decide what kind of relationship, if any, I was willing to have with them. On my terms. I woke up to silence. Not the anxious kind. The peaceful kind. Sunlight stretched across my apartment floor, soft and steady, like it wasn't in a rush to judge me. For the first time in a long while, my chest didn't feel tight the second I opened my eyes. My phone sat face down on the nightstand. I left it there. I made coffee, slow and intentional, then stood by the window watching the city wake up. Somewhere across town, my parents were probably still replaying yesterday in their heads, wondering how they'd missed something so big. I wasn't angry. That surprised me. I was clear. By the time I checked my phone, the messages had shifted. The apologies were quieter now. Less frantic. More careful. My dad had sent one text, short, unpolished. Dad, we failed you yesterday. I'm sorry. I read it twice. Then once more. I didn't respond yet. At 10 sharp, I walked into the temporary office Rachel had set up near downtown. The energy inside buzzed, people moving fast, voices layered, screens alive with plans and numbers. It felt like momentum, like growth. "Morning, CEO," Rachel said with a grin. I rolled my eyes. "Don't start." "I'm serious," she said. "They're flying in this afternoon. Press wants to sit down." And she hesitated, lowering her voice. "Your parents called again." I nodded. I figured. "They want a meeting." "With me." "With you," she confirmed. "Not the company. You." I thought for a moment. "Tell them tomorrow. Public place." Rachel raised an eyebrow. "You sure?" "Yes," I said calmly. "I don't want a scene. I want honesty." The rest of the day moved fast. Interviews, strategy calls, contracts. At one point, I caught my reflection in a glass wall, focused, composed, unmistakably sure of herself. That woman looked nothing like the girl who'd checked her phone on a graduation stage, hoping to matter. By the time evening came, the news cycle had fully wrapped its arms around the story. My inbox overflowed. Old classmates reached out. Professors congratulated me. People who'd never returned my emails before suddenly remembered my name. Recognition was loud. But it wasn't the thing I was chasing anymore. The next afternoon, I arrived early at a quiet cafe near the river. Neutral territory. Plenty of space. No cameras. My parents walked in together 10 minutes later. They looked different. Smaller, somehow. Not physically, emotionally. My mom's shoulders were tense. My dad's jaw tight. Brooke wasn't with them. They sat across from me, hands folded, unsure where to start. "I ordered tea," my mom said softly. "Chamomile. You used to like that." I met her eyes. "I still do." She nodded, relieved by the smallest thing. "I won't stay long," I said. "I have a meeting after this." "Of course," my dad said quickly. "We won't take much time." There was a pause. Then my mom spoke. "We didn't mean to make you feel invisible." I didn't interrupt. We thought law was your backup," she continued. "We didn't understand what you were building." "That's true," I said evenly. "But you also didn't try." Her eyes filled, but she didn't argue. My dad leaned forward. "I should have asked more questions. I should have shown up. I was wrong." I let the words settle between us. "I'm not here for an apology tour," I said gently. "I'm here to reset expectations." They listened. "I love you," I continued. "But I won't chase approval anymore. I won't shrink my wins so they don't make anyone uncomfortable. If you want to be part of my life, it has to be because you respect it, not because it's suddenly impressive." My mom reached for my hand, then stopped herself. "We do respect you." "I need consistency," I said. "Not surprise pride." My dad nodded slowly. "That's fair." For the first time, the power balance felt equal. When we stood to leave, my mom hesitated. "Will you come to dinner this weekend?" I smiled, not a sharp one, not a guarded one. Just honest. "I'll think about it." That answer meant more than a yes ever had before. As I walked back toward my car, my phone buzzed. "Rachel, press conference confirmed. Tonight. Ready?" I glanced once more at the cafe behind me. "Ready." I typed back one word. "Always." Because no matter who showed up late, I'd already arrived. The press conference room was brighter than I expected. Lights hung overhead like a grid of quiet stars, cameras already rolling as reporters took their seats. I stood just behind the curtain, fingers wrapped around a slim notepad I didn't actually need. My reflection stared back at me from a dark screen, steady, composed, unmistakably grown. Rachel leaned in. "They're ready when you are." I nodded. "Let's do it." When I stepped out, the room settled instantly. Not silent, focused. That kind of attention feels different. It doesn't beg. It waits. I took my place at the podium, heart calm, voice clear. "Good evening," I began. "My name is Lila Monroe. Yesterday, my company finalized a strategic partnership valued at $20 million. Cameras clicked. Pens moved fast. I spoke about innovation, access, opportunity. I talked about building something sustainable, about hiring locally, about mentoring women who didn't see themselves reflected in boardrooms. Every word felt earned, not rehearsed. When questions came, I answered without flinching. How does it feel to graduate law school and close a deal like this in the same week? I smiled. It feels aligned. Another reporter leaned forward. Do you feel supported by your family? There it was. I didn't hesitate. I feel supported by the people who show up. Today, that includes my team, my partners, and myself. The answer made its way across the room like a ripple. No drama. No bitterness. Just truth. Afterward, Rachel hugged me so tightly I laughed. You were incredible. So were you? I said. All of you. We celebrated quietly. No champagne towers. No loud music. Just shared smiles, plans scribbled on napkins, and the hum of a future unfolding exactly as it should. Later that night, back at my apartment, I kicked off my shoes and sat on the couch, exhaustion settling in like a gentle wave. My phone buzzed. Mom, we watched the press conference. You were amazing. I stared at the message for a moment, then typed back. Thank you. That was it. No explanations. No reopening wounds. Just acknowledgement. The next morning, my calendar was full, but my thoughts kept drifting to one thing, closure. So I made a decision. I invited my family to lunch. Neutral ground again. Clear boundaries. My terms. They arrived on time this time. Brooke was quieter than usual, her confidence dialed down. She looked at me differently, not above, not ahead, beside. I didn't get it before, she admitted halfway through the meal. I thought you were just busy. I didn't realize you were building something that big. I met her gaze. I didn't need you to realize the size. I needed you to respect the effort. She nodded. I do now. My mom took a breath. We want to do better. I believed them, not blindly, but honestly. I'm not asking for perfection, I said. Just presence. My dad lifted his glass. To showing up. We clinked glasses. Simple. Real. A week later, I stood on the same campus where I'd graduated, but this time, I wasn't looking for anyone. I was there to speak, to a group of students who looked just as tired and hopeful as I once had. I didn't wait for permission, I told them. I didn't wait for applause. I built anyway. They listened like it mattered. Because it did. After the talk, a young woman approached me, eyes bright. My parents don't think my idea is practical, she said quietly. I smiled. Then make it undeniable. As I walked back to my car, the sun low and warm, my phone buzzed again. Rachel, first round of hires confirmed. You changed a lot of lives today. I typed back. So did we. That night, I hosted a small dinner at my place. My parents came. So did Rachel, Maya, and a few team members who'd been with me since the beginning, when the company was just a sketch on a napkin and a belief no one else could see. Laughter filled the room. Stories overlapped. For once, no one talked over anyone else. My mom pulled me aside near the kitchen. I wish I hadn't missed your graduation. I met her eyes, calm and grounded. I don't. She looked surprised. It taught me something, I continued. That my life doesn't pause when people aren't ready to watch. She nodded slowly, understanding settling in. Later, after everyone left, I stood alone by the window again, city lights blinking below. I thought about that moment on the graduation stage, how small I'd felt, how unseen. And I smiled. Because the ending wasn't revenge in the way people expect. I didn't shout. I didn't cut anyone off. I didn't need to. I won by building a life that didn't require their approval to stand tall. They came back running, but I didn't need to chase them anymore. I was already exactly where I belonged, and this time, everyone could see it.